Welcome to the VS Spotlight series, where we bring you insights and stories from industry leaders who are shaping the future of business. And today, we are excited to have with us Eric James, a seasoned HR leader with over 2 decades of experience in strategic HR leadership. Currently, as the head of learning, organizational development, inclusion, and diversity at Flipkart, let's dive into our conversation with Eric and learn more about his journey and insights. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you, Shruti. It's been a privilege. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Can you tell us more about your journey and what inspired you to pursue this career path?
It has been 2 decades of journey, and the way I think I don't have a lot of things to say from an inspiration standpoint, but there are 2-3 things that I think are major pivots in my journey. I think one of the biggest patterns that I've seen in my life and experience is if there is a challenge and if I have butterflies in my stomach, that is one thing that I definitely would love to take on as a challenge and try figuring out how to overcome that. And that started off in the beginning of my journey where I finished my engineering, want to do MBA and also work alongside. So that was the first decade of experience where I was trying to grow a lot more functional expertise in my journey. And then the second decade was a lot more from a process, understanding how to navigate work, how to solve tough challenges where many people have not ventured into before. And that's given me a lot of career shifts, which led me to the role that I'm doing today.
What are some key differences in L&D strategies between these two environments?
Good question, Shruti. To be honest, when I started those companies, I didn't know then, I didn't know the companies that they were big companies, because actually, technically, they were startups too. So for example, when I joined Network Appliance, this was 2006. We were 80 or 90 people when we started off the company and in India. And by the time I left, we were around 2,000, 3,000. So I think the joy of setting up things, seeing scale has always been a big part of my challenge. And that is something that I truly look forward to. The difference between established companies like the so-called MNCs to Indian-based startups, the major difference is, I think, when you are part of HQ, there is a lot of different problem statements that you try working on, which is at scale. And I think that's the major difference that I have been able to establish during my career. So I think that is one big difference that I see. And if you're working in headquarters, there is a lot more empowerment, high levels of ownership. And the last piece is there is also the sense of responsibility that whatever you do, you will have to think from a very global audience. I think these are the 3 big things that I see as a major difference from an established MNC. When I say MNC, something which is headquartered outside India, and working in an HQ setup which is headquartered in India.
How do you approach building and leading teams, especially in high-growth startup environments?
Very, very tough question that you asked, Shruti. I wish I had a magic silver bullet with respect to that. What I have figured out over the years is most startup folks try looking at people with a lot of experience bringing to the table. I think the right balance of some good amount of experience, people who have been there and done that, and a large portion of people with attitude of trying to build something on their own, actually challenge the status quo. And the third piece that I really look forward to is first principle thinking. Somebody who's willing to benchmark across companies, see what we can do differently within the company that I work at, and make a difference and actually feel proud of that work that they do. I think these are 3-4 traits that I look in people when I sort of build a team. And the one last state that I look at is people who are singular focused. And these very, very singular focused about growing and figuring out, and the one big value that I really like about, companies that I worked for is this company over team over individual. So can we take a tough problem statement, make an attempt at it, and then try figuring out if we can make small micro shifts in the journey. So if I see those individuals during interviews, those are the kind of people that I would love to hire on the team, in spite of them not having a lot of experience.
Eric, what are some of the most significant challenges you faced in your career, and how did you overcome them?
There is a lot of challenges that I have taken up in my career. I think I can talk about the most recent challenge that I've had, where I had to actually completely shift from my existing set of experience and actually take up something and actually push the team to look at it from a company standpoint. the way I have overcome those challenges is, one is integration of my past experience. So I don't discount my past experiences, because there's a lot of learnings from the past experiences that I have. So I look at almost integration of those experiences. And the second piece that I also look forward to is how do you take those experiences and then be open about things that you never thought of along the way when you solve for something. I think those are the two major pivots or anchors that I look forward to in solving for anything. And the last piece that I also look forward to is try figuring out why do you want, focus on the why and just uncover the why a lot more for any problem statement. Like, why am I doing this? What is the main reason? What will it solve? What will it make a difference for? So very high impact orientation is what I look at. So these are the ways that I look at a challenge and then I see how do I figure out if these are the three anchors that I can look at, and that will help me come out of any particular situation that I'm part of.
How do you really navigate the cultural differences?
See, Shruti, I've had the privilege of being brought up in a country, like I grew up in Abu Dhabi, where I had intercultural friends, like friends from very, very different places, people who have various different backgrounds coming to the Middle East, etc. So I had the privilege of just being open-minded and being broad about that there could be a lot of cultural sensitivities, being very curious about their culture. And trying to understand and learn from experts in their culture. So I usually do a lot more benchmarking before getting into a country, trying to understand nuances and being open, saying that, maybe I can be insensitive, and be willing to be open to change. I think that's what helped me in my career. And also look at when I go through interviews with those candidates, also be very curiously asking, so what got them excited about the country, what is so unique about their place, what is about their culture, etc. And that is giving me a great learning story, even working on navigating with different cultures.
What advice would you give to aspiring HR professionals who are looking to make a significant impact in their organizations?
I think one of the biggest advices that I took from a business colleague actually was that try figuring out ways to move forward. And when you look back, all those dots make sense. So be bold, be honest to move forward. And you will realize that all the moves that you make and all the shifts that you make will actually make sense in your career. And then the last piece that I would give advice to people is be open to learn. Be open to stand corrected. By the way, this is a very, very hard skill to do. And also be, even if you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, accept it and then figure out what can I do differently to help navigate the challenge forward. I think these are the 3 points that I have.
How do you stay updated with the latest trends in L&D, and how do you actually apply this knowledge to benefit your organization?
So the way I learn is, if I have so I read quite a bit. So at least my teammates, etc. So I encourage a lot of sharing and reading, etc. My teammates also say the fact that the more you share, the more you get. So what I do is I share a lot, and then I try applying it and try to make meaning out of it for myself. When people apply frameworks, they apply frameworks from their context. So I try to use that framework and then figure out what is the insight that I get from applying that framework in my life. Those are things that I stay abreast, and I also read quite a bit and try figuring out how do we take those trends and make meaning out of it in my own company.
Thank you, Eric. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in to this episode of VA's Spotlight series. Stay connected for more engaging conversation with industry leaders. Until next time, keep innovating and leading with purpose. Goodbye for now.